name's Caitlin, and today I'm here to talk about the coordinated management of meaning. People often ask, are online relationships even real? The answer is yes. So what is a real relationship? What is real? According to communication theories like coordinated management of meaning and social constructionism, realness isn't about whether or not you can go to events together or give each other a high five, but rather it's about the realness of communication. It's about the meanings we co-create through communication. In fact, it's a bit like the artwork called Bond of Union, where two individuals are wrapped together by a ribbon, and that ribbon is a symbol of connection. The image is beautiful, but also kind of a nightmare if you can imagine trying to give each other a hug, just turning into a human pretzel. Scholars like Kenneth Gorgon argue that identity isn't some solid or fixed persona. Identity isn't something you're born with or something you can choose like a piece of candy, but rather identity is formed by communication and interaction. As George Herbert Mead put it, without communication, there is no I. If the self is socially constructed through interactionism, then relationships curated online are just as real as any type of relationship. Now, the Oxford Dictionary defines a relationship as the way that two or more people are connected. By that definition, connecting with my husband on Discord absolutely counts. Sure, there are fake relationships, bots, scams, and catfish accounts, but social information processing theory helps us see the difference. Real relationships show ongoing reciprocal disclosure, and fake ones often collapse before intimacy develops. So how does social information processing theory explain my Discord romance? Well, let's break it down. Social information processing theory says people choose what to share. On Discord, I could highlight my humor and selected personal interests to share. But I also held back things that felt too personal, like where I live or what my middle name was. This is selective self-presentation in action. But my husband didn't just take those small interactions at face value. He idealized them, and this is a key component of social information processing theory. When cues are limited, receivers have no choice but to kind of fill in the blanks. Basically, he thought my carefully chosen memes meant I was cooler than I actually am. Just kidding, he knows I'm cool. Discord gave us multiple channels, we had voice chats, and could even see each other through video. Social information processing theory also highlights how fast or slow you can respond to others online. These are called chronemic cues. Quick replies signal enthusiasm and closeness, while slower ones can feel distant. For me and my husband, late night chats flowed quickly, creating momentum and a sense of intimacy. Other times, longer pauses made the responses feel more deliberate and meaningful. Even timing becomes a nonverbal cue online. One challenge of online communication is the lack of nonverbal cues. Research by Albert Moranian says that when it comes to conveying feelings, only about 7% of meaning comes from the words themselves and 93% comes from nonverbal cues or facial expressions, which sounds terrifying if you're just stuck with text. But Walther argued that people adapt. We create new symbols like emojis, reaction GIFs, even memes that serve as functional replacements for nonverbal cues. So when we share a GIF, we're not only trying to be funny, we're recreating the missing 93% of nonverbal cues. Over time, these curated conversations unfold, and this is exactly what social penetration theory says. Layers of disclosure moving deeper with each exchange. Much like peeling an onion, getting closer can make you cry. And this leads to the hyper-personal perspective. Walther argues that online relationships can actually become more personal and intimate than face-to-face ones, thanks to selective self-presentation, feedback loops, adaptation to cues, and response timing all working together perfectly. And honestly, that was our story. What started as cautious disclosures eventually felt unusually close, unusually fast. Now, I'd like to acknowledge the opposing view. Yes, some interactions online are fake or even harmful. Spend 10 minutes on a YouTube comment section and you'll see this language so toxic that it makes Rome look like a tea party. But that doesn't erase the fact that many online spaces do foster genuine closeness, and social information processing theory explains exactly how. Why are people motivated to build relationships online in the first place? A lot of the reason is accessibility and safety. Online platforms lower barriers of distance and allow careful self-disclosure. These bonds can become hyper-personal, more intense than face-to-face, because selective self-presentation, idealization, and feedback loops amplify intimacy. That's exactly how my husband and I built trust, not despite being online, but because of it. And finally, is texting on Twitter a better example of this? No, I think texting wins. Texting involves sustained exchanges where disclosure deepens over time. But Twitter, on the other hand, is more like yelling into the void. It can build communities, but it's broadcast oriented and lacking feedback loops that are needed for intimacy. Basically, Twitter is fast food, texting is a slow cooker. So, are online relationships real? Absolutely. Through time, adaptation for cues, selective sharing, idealization, channel affordance, feedback loops, and attention to timing, people can form connections just as deep, sometimes deeper, than face to face. And if that all sounds unlikely, well, I'm living proof.